So someone asked me about my cancer diet, and that got me thinking, and I realized like I never really took the time to do like an in-depth explanation of what my diet used to be like, why I changed it, or rather why I stopped, and what my new diet is like. I kind of went over the new one in one of my previous videos, but I feel like it kind of makes sense to do a more in-depth comparison, explain the process and everything. So in the beginning, 10 months ago, when I first got the diagnosis and everything, I I was very, I mean, I still am, but I was very vocal, very open about it, and I just shared everything with everyone. And as a result of that, I got a ton of suggestions to the point where in the beginning, my thought when I was first diagnosed was I'm going to do anything and everything, leave no stone unturned until I find a cure. After a couple weeks of people suggesting thing after thing after thing after thing after thing, it became very clear that it's not a question of doing everything, it's a question of doing the right thing. Because you can do one thing, okay, and it could help, but then you can do another thing and it could help. But if you're doing both things, they could cancel each other out and it's a complete waste of time. Plus, I don't have unlimited budget, so I can't go out and do everything. I don't have unlimited time and everything. So it quickly became very clear I can't do everything. So then it came down to what feels right to me, what makes sense to me, and just kind of follow my gut and go with that. So spoke to a bunch of people. One woman in particular shared her story, and quick summary: she had a massive tumor that they removed, but during the operation, when they removed it, it burst, and the tumor juice, I don't really know how to describe it aside from that, kind of got in her body, and that's obviously really bad. So in order to treat that and the cancer and everything, she went to a coach or nutrition coach who was referred to her by other people who would help. And he helped her out, rework her diet, adjust everything, and get to the point where she was able to get rid of that. And since then, she's referred a bunch of other people. He's helped a bunch of other people. I don't know the exact number, but definitely dozens of people he's helped with, treating and fighting cancer. So I'm like, all right, I like this woman. I spoke to her a few times. I feel like this is the right thing to do. So let's do that. And just to kind of explain the theory behind what he was doing, I say theory simply because it hasn't been medically proven yet, but I've heard it from multiple different sources. So the two theories there are in this case is, first of all, cancer grows in an acidic environment. Most people have acidic environments in their body just because of the type of food we eat. So the strategy is let's adjust the diet. So then you switch that, and instead of being acidic, it becomes alkaline. That way the cancer can't grow anymore. That's the basic strategy. The other thing also is that cancer feeds on sugar. So if you remove sugar, then it can't feed. So if you have those two things combined, it can't grow anymore and it can't feed anymore. So basically it starves and dies. That's the strategy. That's the concept. And, it made a lot of sense. And I heard it from a few different sources. So I'm like, let's do this. But in the back of my head, I always knew there are millions, if not billions of people out there who have an acidic environment in their body and who eat sugar and haven't had cancer, don't have cancer, and will never have cancer. So even though I'm like, all right, this all makes sense. It's very logical. It's a good strategy to get rid of it. I know long term, this is not something that I need to do my entire life, simply because my goal has always been, since the start of this, my goal has always been, let's not just treat the symptoms. Let's figure out the reason why this happened, the source, if you will, and treat that instead. But in the beginning, I'm like, I'm going to try everything I can. This seems like the right thing right now. Let's do that. And this diet, it's slightly different, but it's pretty much the keto diet, which is high fat, high protein, low carbs, and in this case, absolutely no sugar. And, no sugar, that's fine. I've never eaten a ton of sugar. Everything's good. The only issue for me was that also means no fruits whatsoever. And I love fruits. I've eaten a lot of fruits and vegetables throughout my life. And it's been a big part of my diet. And my body really likes it. It responds well to it. But I'm like, you know what? I'm committing to this. Let's do it. So, he came up with a meal, well, not necessarily a meal plan, but just like, a strategy of like, you're going to eat these types of foods. You're going to eat this and that and that. And I started doing that. And I did it for multiple months. I don't know the exact amount. I'd say maybe 4 or 5 months, something like that. And it was also everything organic. So obviously that increased the price of, well, everything, as well as other supplements. So it's like, there was a bunch of different vitamins. There was also hydrogen water. There was high doses of vitamin C. That's something separate, but it's something he also recommended. So, I did that too. And the thing is, I went intermittent fasting as well. So I think it was 3 times per week, I would do intermittent fasting, different amounts of times. And, intermittent fasting is not something that is new to me. I've done it for most of my life. I never ate breakfast until, the last couple months, simply because, I adjusted my diet and everything. And because also of the medication I'm taking to reduce the swelling in my head, it just makes me hungry all the time. So I started eating breakfast. But anyway, let's go back to the initial diet. So there was a bunch of different things I was doing. And the problem with that type of diet, high fat, high protein, low carb, is that it fills you up very quickly. And because of that, I just was not hungry. And it slowly got more and more intense to the point where I just was not hungry. I had to force myself to eat. And it's just like every mouthful was not really torture. I don't want to go to the extreme and be too extreme, but it's just I did not enjoy eating anymore. And because of that, it just made that process so painful. And I started losing weight, which is not good when you have to fight cancer. And it just got to the point where I realized, like, I can't keep doing this. It's not good for me. I can sense my body is fighting this. So even though it seemed logical, it made sense in the beginning, I don't think I should keep doing this. So I eventually stopped, started eating fruit again. There was a period of uncertainty in between. I'm like, I'm not really sure what my diet should be. I'm not really sure what my strategy should be. And then, more recently, when I when I moved to the new apartment and the whole thing with the migraines and the brain tumors and everything after that, I started like adjusting my diet, and I went to the point where it's like, all right, I'm going to go back to doing certain things. So now I eat very healthily, no processed sugar whatsoever. In fact, I had the first piece of dessert, I think a week ago, after like 3 or 4 months of not eating sugar like at all. Well, I mean, even before that. And it's like, I didn't really enjoy it. My body's just not used to eating sugar anymore, which is good. But I am eating fruit. So I have a fruit salad every single morning. And when it comes to the meals, it's just like, I try to make sure to have more fat in it, more protein, but I'm not like restricting myself. I make sure that the food that I eat is good, that I enjoy it, and that it's healthy. So it really comes down to, rather than let's try to force myself into this specific diet, it's like, let's listen to my body and do what it wants, what feels right to it. And I felt like so much better since I started doing that. And the thing is, like, I know, because especially in the last month, like this shift in perspective, like I don't need to cure myself. I already am cured. I'm living as a future version of myself that is healed, that is cured. Everything is great. And it's like that mindset, that belief, the power of the mind is so much more powerful than anything you can do physically. Since the beginning of this, I knew it was like 80% what's up here, 20% what I physically do. And now that might be like slightly different. It might be like 90-10, 95-5. I don't know exactly, but I've just like realized trying to force things, trying to force the diet, it's not what's going to change anything. And that has been kind of my journey, the thing that I went through. And it's just, I'm so happy that I went through everything, that I had that experience. But I'm also very happy that I made that shift, because I sense that that's exactly what I'm meant to be doing. So yeah, I just want to give you a quick update. Hopefully that was informative. And of course, once again, I try to stop it and it doesn't work.